Welcome to another special edition of the Wednesday edition. This week, I'm interviewing Skyler Wachsmann, one of our hosts on Saving the Republic. Okay, Skyler, so I'm just going to dive right in here. So tell us a little bit about yourself. Who is Skyler?
All right, this feels like a job interview, but basically, I'm from Waco, Texas. I grew up here. Um, I went to a little school called Bosqueville, a little place called Bosqueville, actually home to country singer Pat Green. Nice fun fact. I graduated high school. I went to UT Arlington for 2 years, and then I kind of got tired of being up there, and so I transferred to Texas Tech, and I've been going there for a number of years that I won't disclose, um, more than I should be, but we, anyways, that's happening. And so whenever I went out to Texas Tech, I discovered YCT, the Conservatives of Texas, and I first got involved with them the spring 2017 semester, and kind of that was sort of my intro to politics. But yeah, that's kind of like my story, or that's not much of a story, but that's sort of like my intro to politics. But
I mean, not all of us have been to like 300 countries and, you know.
yeah, like Ethan, yeah. Um, but yeah, so no, I went out to Texas Tech and got there 2016, and yeah, study personal financial planning, which is I admit it's kind of a weird thing for someone really interested in politics to study, but I don't really plan on doing like having much of a political career. It's kind of just, I don't know, it sort of started out as a hobby and kind of turned into like kind of a little bit of a passion. And so yeah, so just kind of got into politics, and I've been a part of YCT, and have just been kind of tuned into a lot of political stuff. So, but yeah, PFP is my major, personal financial planning, and so I want to be a financial advisor and help people grow their money and or I should say, grow their wealth, um, and all of that. So yeah.
Awesome. So, how did you get involved in the conservative movement?
Yeah, pretty much. So kind of the 2016 election was what really got me started. Like, I voted in 2014 also. I voted in the primary in 2014. That was the first time I ever voted, and I voted in the general election. That was when so that was like John Cornyn uh, running against, I forget who he ran against, but he was running for Senate re-election. But it wasn't. Yeah, it was sort of 2016. I was paying attention to presidential debates, and I kind of first started off rooting for Ben Carson, and like I read his book Gifted Hands, where he's a neurosurgeon, pediatric neurosurgeon, and he actually like separated two conjoined twins, and but he had a really interesting book, and I watched his national prayer breakfast speech, where he was right next to Obama, and he was feet away from President Obama, and was talking. He basically used this analogy. Um, I kind of forget what it is, but it's something about like parrots, and I actually have no idea what it was, but I know it was funny and I liked it. I was like, man, this Ben Carson guy should run for president. And lo and behold, and that was in like 2014 that I watched it. 2016, he runs for president. And at one point, he was actually leading Republicans. That was for a very short time, and then after that was like President Trump took over. But those debates were really kind of what made me like soul search for my political identity, because I started off as like a Ben Carson fan, and then as I watched them, I really latched on to what Rand Paul was saying, and he was sort of talking about like foreign policy, and I kind of agreed with him on some things, and he would talk about like criminal justice stuff and sort of like the war on drugs and things like that. And at the same time, I was also taking a intro to criminal justice class. So I was like, yeah, it's actually good points. So that was kind of how I got an interest in politics. And then, like I said, whenever I transferred to Texas Tech, I found YCT. I wanted to join a conservative group, but I didn't want to join just like a you know a political party, because I was like, well, the Republican Party has a lot of issues, so I don't just want to join, a party group. And I never knew about YCT, but I found out it existed, and I'm like, this is actually perfect. This is exactly what I want. And that was before I knew that Rand Paul was a member of YCT, that he actually started a YCT chapter. So that when I saw that, I was like, this is perfect. Huge. But yeah.
Awesome. So, just kind of to dive into the personal financial planning stuff you were talking about, what are your goals with that?
I'd say, uh, so at some point, I want to either have my own firm or be part of a larger firm like Charles Schwab or Edward Jones, like a big company. Um, with I don't know, somewhere around, like, I would say maybe like 30 to 50 clients. I don't know, however much I can handle. But yeah, I would like I want to be able to make money, to make a living doing it, but I really want to just kind of help people. I sort of had this idea, like, that I could help like young people become more financially literate. Now I have no idea how I would do that, but that's kind of something that I've wanted to work in somehow. I don't know. Yeah. So that's
Yeah,
probably.
I agree that financial literacy is very important. Let's hope you can figure out a way to teach young people financial literacy. That's a very great goal to have.
Yeah, I think that would be, it's something like, I think high schools could really use more of. Uh, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I was one of the lucky few at my high school that had enough empty spaces to be able to take a class in financial planning. So that was pretty great. So, what made you want to start a podcast with fellow YCTers?
Well, so I know I think it was kind of Ethan's idea before anybody else's, and I wasn't really that crazy about it. I was like, yeah, who cares? Like, I don't even really listen to podcasts. But the deeper we went into coronavirus, I was like, you know what? I kind of have like ramblings that I would like to cover. And so, and I was like, there's kind of some stuff going on that, you know, I like don't want to just I don't want to just like talk to myself. I'll do that occasionally, not really, but I was like, you know what? I have some friends that they might be interested in doing it too. So it's pretty cool. I was like, we kind of just have different opinions on different topics. Uh, like occasionally me and Ethan will sort of clash uh, on certain things, but yeah, I mean, it's a great way to kind of like to give your opinion on certain things. And um, yeah, I think it's a nice way. I've seen, like, it's just a nice way to kind of talk about subjects, because um, I think it's a lot of people have opinions on certain things, uh, but But anyways, I've seen a bunch of my friends actually start podcasts, and so it's kind of a weird thing going on. Like everyone has their own podcast, but it's a great way to just talk politics and talk news of the day, and to kind of like get your voice out there, and maybe somebody will hear what you're saying and agree with you or disagree with you, and they can give you feedback, and it's just a good way to get your voice out there, pretty much.
Awesome. So, kind of speaking along the lines of disagreement, what would you say your political leanings are?
Yeah, I always describe myself as a libertarian leaning conservative. So, um, yeah, pretty much, like I believe in limited government, and like I want the government to be as small as possible. Uh, but I think the government has a role. It's not that I I'm not an anarchist by any means. Like I think that would be far from it. Like uh, I think the government has a role in protecting individual rights and property, and I think there's some degree of promotion of morals. I think we're founded on a Judeo-Christian society, and so I think the government has some role in promoting that. Like, although I describe myself as like libertarian leaning, I still think that I would probably still call myself a social conservative. Um, I think uh, the values of like Christian values should be promoted. Uh, like probably the thing that I would be least libertarian on is like I believe marriage is still between one man and one woman. So um, that's probably like the most like anti-libertarian belief that I hold. But like I mentioned earlier, kind of like foreign policy, I definitely would say I'm like more very pretty non-interventionist on drug policy. Um, I just I'd say I've kind of waffled on this because on the one hand, I think if you kind of look at the war on drugs since like the 70s, it's been a pretty big failure, and it's really just skyrocketed the prison population. And so I think the war on drugs has been bad, but at the same time, I don't think that some of the seriously dangerous drugs should be legalized. Um, but yeah, that kind of wraps up like what my political philosophy is. So pretty much limited government, um, but that has its limits, not just total anarchy, limited government, but protect individual rights and property, um, and keep like the first and foremost responsibility of government is to keep people safe. So keep people safe from foreign threats, um, by by the military, and keep people safe from internal threats. So like a police force. Um, yeah, that's essentially it. Yeah.
Awesome. So, what kind of have you been doing recently during this whole coronavirus thing? I mean, we've all, as kind of students, had either, well, depending on how your major is, you've either had significantly more time or significantly less time.
Yeah, I've been first off, like I've been taking online classes which wrapped up last week. That was very nice. My grades were pretty good. Like I'm glad I didn't have a huge drop off in my grades. So I'm pretty happy with that. Uh, yeah, school was so weird being online. There were some classes where it was kind of welcome, but there were others where I totally hated it. Like uh, one of my classes, we went from having a really interesting uh, class conversation. Is this a political class? And then we went from there to he literally just put his lecture notes online, and he's like, "Whatever, I'm done. Like, just read the notes yourself." So that kind of stunk. But as far as my grades, at least my grades didn't really drop off. So there's that. I also realized like, well, I still need to make some money because my apartment is still they still want their rent. So what I'd been doing is doing like favor food deliveries, um, and actually made pretty decent money doing that. And so it's a nice way to make some kind of easy money. It's because I figured that everybody needs to eat, and we have a whole lot of people ordering food, and to nobody's dining in at these places like they just recently started opening. And so that's what I've been doing to make some money and actually make decent money doing that. uh, and then we started this podcast. So and that's been a lot of fun too. So nice way to just uh, vent with you and Ethan and Kelly, and to kind of get our opinions out in the air. Not that anybody asked for that.
Awesome. So, how do you think that this whole pandemic has affected the, like, I guess, morale, kind of things like that within your organization at Tech?
Um, that's kind of an interesting question. I would. Uh, I'm not really sure, honestly. I think I don't know. I think it is nice in a way because you sort of have more free time, and you have the freedom to sort of do things when you want. Like for me, it was nice to be able to do schoolwork at certain times. I could actually just wake up. I actually wake up earlier and get things done. And normally, when I would have to be getting ready for school, I can go for a jog, whatever, get some reading in, and so those things have been kind of nice. And I haven't had like strict things that I have to do at these times. So it's a lot more freedom, and you can probably do more things that you weren't able to get to before. So it's just kind of interesting. Um, it's good. It's good, and some people do better with like being able to do things when they want, and some people prefer to have like a pretty strict schedule of things. Um, this it's just kind of a temporary thing. Like like we're not doing this forever. I mean, hopefully. So but yeah, as far as like other people in the chapter, I honestly am not sure. Like I'd say maybe some of them like it, having that freedom. But I think everybody wants to like have a nice argument in person and do some things. Go to sporting events in person. Um, and sadly, those are probably gonna be like the last things that we can do is go to baseball games and you know football is still a while away, but at least baseball is getting killed because of coronavirus. That right now we'd be in full swing. Like we're getting towards the end of May. Like college postseason would be happening, and so that's a real bummer that we're not able to get sports back yet. But hopefully that'll be on the horizon. Hopefully that's coming back soon.
Awesome. I think one of the biggest positives we've seen in our chapter is that we've kind of been able to extend our discussions. Like if we're having a really good discussion, no one has our room reserved after us or anything where we have to clear out right after our time is up. We could go on for 3 hours if we wanted to about a specific topic.
Yeah,
So
that's true.
I think that's one of the good things that's come out of this. So I've also heard that there have been some recent developments within YCT. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
Definitely. Yeah. So Will Dominguez took over as the state chairman a couple of weeks ago, and since then, we've sort of had a sort of rejuvenation, I guess, of the state board, and we've seen a whole bunch of new members of the state board, and I'm really excited to see what all we do. I took the position as chapter maintenance director, so that pretty much means that that I'm gonna be in contact with all the chapters, all the chapter chairmen, and I'm gonna make sure that chapters are going smoothly, and that some of the younger, newer chapters um, continue to grow. And so I'm really excited to take this role on because I really enjoy getting to communicate with people all over the state. Like being up in Lubbock, you kind of learn how to use kind of how to use these online forms of communication, uh, because you kind of have to do that with anybody that's not in Lubbock. So I'm really looking forward to it. I'm really excited to see where we can take YCT. We've had a bunch of new people on, like my friend Alec Wallace, who is also a Texas Tech YCT alumnus. Um, he took over the role as legislative director. We saw Nick Sigalakis promoted to junior vice chair, Ashley Vaughn as senior vice chair, and we've just had a bunch. You've actually nearly forgot, and I apologize, but you're also on the board as let's see, junior IT something.
I'm the junior IT supervisor now, so
Yes, yes,
excited to be able to help YCT in any way I can. And as one of those new kind of baby chapters, we're excited to have someone such as yourself take on this position. We're excited, and
yeah.
we're great things are going to be happening this semester. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, like so Manfred Went, the executive director, he started back in January 2019, I think. And in the time that he's been executive director, he's done an absolutely amazing job. Like we went from 8 chapters to 22 chapters. And so we're going to continue to grow those chapters and make them even stronger and really grow the impact of YCT and kind of make us just felt all over the state and kind of leave our footprint. And we're going to be influencing race. I mean, we already have been. We're going to continue to influence races, uh, you know, at the state house level and at the congressional level too. We have congressional races that we've endorsed in, and we plan on making our impact there. And so for me, my role is just to make sure that that our chapters continue to grow and to prosper and make sure that the chapters are healthy and yeah, just to make and like as a side effect of that, just the general health of the organization is gonna continue to get better. So I'm really excited. Um, it's good, uh, great times ahead for YCT. A lot, a lot of a lot of good developments going on. So I'm really excited to see where we go as an organization. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's really exciting. Anyway, kind of moving on. Where do you see YCT in 5 years?
This is another job interview question. I actually see myself in your position. I'm just joking.
Wouldn't that be a demotion?
Yeah. No. In 5 years. Well, I mean, I would hope that YCT is going to be um continuing to grow our numbers. I think it would be awesome if we could have a presence kind of literally all over the state. So like Rio Grande Valley is somewhere that like Sul Ross State is out there. We also have San Angelo, which is San or Angelo State. Like there are a bunch of places that I would love for us to branch into. Like UTEP is way out in like I don't even call it West Texas. I call that like California, basically.
The far
Um,
west.
yes, that's just uber west, like very much so far west. But no, like just kind of getting all over there, being literally all over the state. Um, yeah, that's what I want. Whenever a conservative is running for office, I want YCT to be the first thing that they think about. Like they absolutely really want to get that YCT endorsement. For us to just be kind of the preeminent conservative organization in the state of Texas. Maybe in 5 years we might take over Oklahoma. Also, I don't know if we want them or not, but maybe we'll be powerful enough to take over Oklahoma as well.
I mean, it wouldn't take that much power.
Yeah. So,
It's only
uh,
Oklahoma.
yeah. Does anybody really want Oklahoma?
I
I don't know,
mean,
but
if I had to rank the states from number 1 to number 50, Oklahoma's probably tied with California, sadly.
yeah, nobody's fleeing to go into Oklahoma or California. So I
Hmm.
agree. I put them down there.
Anyway, well, this has been a great conversation, Skyler. You want to go ahead and plug your social media? I know there's been some developments there too.
Yeah. Uh, Twitter kicked me off because I tried to update my age, and apparently, when I created my Twitter account back in 2009, I was 12 years old, which was not old enough for the Twitter. You had to be 13, so I wasn't old enough to make a Twitter account. And so when I tried to update my age just today, they kicked me off. And so, yeah, follow me at Skyler TX on Twitter, and then Skyler WTX on Instagram. Um, yeah, you can just kind of hear me make my political ramblings
It's
and
very
tweet.
fun to watch Skyler's Twitter feed.
Yeah, I've tried to curate a nice, um, interesting
It's
Twitter
a,
feed.
it's a great feed. I highly recommend the follow.
Yeah, so so I appreciate it. Yeah, it's been a great interview. I don't really like talking about myself that much, so it's kind of weird to spend a lot of time talking about me. So
Well, it's been a
yeah,
great interview, Skyler. Thanks again for coming on.
thanks for having me.
If you like this content, please like, subscribe, share it. If you hated it, like, subscribe, and share it. Thanks for tuning in.